Welcome everybody to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. Guys, if you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a movie, and that movie is Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania. Here to discuss, as always, the triple threat. Chris Trio.
I'm ready to get big, Gooch. Or small, depending on what the situation entails.
You ready to climb up some asses if it calls
If it
for
needs to, yeah, if I need to.
I mean, Scott
absolutely.
didn't do it.
I know,
You
he's a piece of shit. He didn't need.
He was
didn't-
called.
He didn't do what was needed to be done.
No. And of course, well, not of course. I don't know why I did. I'm just used to doing it with Trio. Our guest for today, the Dead Pocket's own Matt Kelly, returning after a year of being off the podcast.
Howdy, everybody. Thanks for having me back.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
welcome. Back,
welcome.
Pumped to come back.
Good to have you.
Glad to
Don't
get
be
you-
afraid to get up on this mic, though. By the
yeah,
way, just
I'll
it's.
come
I
up
know
a
it's
little
tough because you have the bar right underneath you.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to make love to it. Just
Oh,
hang.
I
with it,
will.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, welcome back. Glad to have you on like a proper review,
Yeah.
not like just a normal
I don't
podcast.
want to talk about myself this time.
Yeah, we love to talk about you.
It's all right. It's all right. We like to hear it though. But yeah, Gooch.
Do what you want me to start?
Yeah, please do. Quantumania. What did
Wow.
you think? Because honestly, I was really excited going because I feel like we were talking about this in the Discord before. I felt like you had a not predetermined. Like I
was
felt like I
excited.
knew where you were gonna go.
I was excited. I'm like, this is big. This is a big movie, and I think it delivers. It's honestly not as big in scope as I thought it was going to be. It seems like
Pun intended. No.
relatively like self-contained. Like you kind of thought it was going to go all over the place, right? Kang and the multiverse stuff, like we're kicking that off, but surprisingly, Quantumania stays like in its own realm. Hey, ooh.
Quantum realm.
Matt, what do you think?
I enjoyed it. I think it's my favorite one out of all three Ant-Man movies. It was tough for me to say. I really loved the first one.
Sure.
I just love Scott Lang, the character.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting this huge movie. Honestly, I know Quantumania makes it sound like it's going to be this huge spectacle.
Right.
Sure.
And listen, it was 90% in the quantum realm, so you can't complain that it like
Honestly, I'd say like 98%
yeah, no,
in the
seriously,
quantum realm.
almost
Yeah.
the whole movie. So I mean, it didn't give me all that I wanted, but I thought it was I thought it was great. I thought it was a great movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, so we saw these reviews coming out, and it's hard to.
I
it's so
thought
hard
about
in
it.
this
Like, do I
day-
want to like bring that up?
I
first,
do.
like, the
I'm
Rotten
going to
Tomatoes?
just for a moment, just because.
Fucking horrible, man.
Well, just
see
in
what
ge-
it does to us.
Well, just
The
reviews in
disarray.
general, I'm just like, I personally am of the mind I don't love Rotten Tomatoes because it's one of those things where it's like, you can, like, those mixed reviews are just like, I liked it and didn't like it, but I'm falling down slightly on the negative side, so it's rotten for me. And then that will just, like, it's really just the tiniest of decision that can really swing that
Right, like
thing on a
when
Rotten
it sits,
Tomato score.
when it sits between like 70 and 80, nobody seems to pay mind. Like I remember when Black Adam came out, it was like a 76, and we were like, bad movie, or like people were like, well, I don't know,
Looking up one other Rotten Tomato score, but continue.
and I'm just like 76 isn't bad. Like what? Why does that constitute as a bad movie? That sounds like it's okay to
Too good.
Good. Yeah, but like this was, I think we were sitting at a 43 before the movie came out, or maybe like a 50
It was like,
something.
it was like mid 50s.
Because and I think it's still down there. I don't know if that's what
Yeah.
you're looking up, Trio. But I was just like, this isn't like I was like shocked. And like Dark World has a higher Rotten Tomato score than Quantumania. I'm like, that's nuts. That's like one of the worst Marvel movies ever, especially on rewatch when you realize like, wow, this is a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And it put us such in like a like dire straits, man. Like
Well, it's
walking
fu-
into that, I feel like every
we've
one
had
of us.
this happen a few times with a few different movies where like the audience versus critic score is
Batman v
way.
Superman.
But no, that's not. But Batman v Superman isn't a good example. That's still very mixed both ways.
Yeah,
But I'm
true.
trying to think in recent time of there definitely has been a ton of examples of just a complete disconnect. Like I don't know the fact that this is a 48. And that Black Widow, what do you think it is? I think you just saw.
I
but
saw, I can't
what
say
do you think it is, Scooch? Critic score.
67.
It is a 79.
Wow.
I hate
And
Black
like
I
Widow.
I
forgot
don't dislike
90% of that
Black
movie,
Widow,
yeah.
but it's not there. It's not really exciting, right?
Yeah,
Anywho,
pointless.
The reason I bring this up is to preempt my thought process going into this movie, and maybe my bar was set a little low because I did let these reviews somewhat influence me. But overall, man, this was so good. It was so cool to see the quantum realm. It was so cool to just hang out with Ant-Man. original Ant-Man. Michael Douglas is in this a lot, which I really fucking loved.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of these Ant-Man movies, a good amount of them. So it's nice to see, and I think he's having a lot of fun.
He looks like he enjoys it.
That's what I mean. He
Yeah,
doesn't look
yeah.
like he's just forced to be
He's
there.
not like Harrison Ford phoning in every role he comes back
That's
for.
not
for
true,
nostalgia.
though. He doesn't do that. He's
Yes, he
so
does.
he's so good. Harrison Ford is good in 99% of. He was amazing in Force Awakens. He was amazing even in Rise of Skywalker, where he didn't need to be. But bar that,
All right,
I
debatable.
think Michael Douglas is so good, and he was one of the shining stars of this. Paul Rudd's just amazing to watch be Paul Rudd. Kang is menacing. Jonathan Majors is a formidable fucking force.
Absolutely.
And just both physically and just mentally and just how he speaks and
Yeah,
how
like
he
the
communicates.
verbally. Yeah.
And he has this very methodical way he speaks. The suit looks awesome. Kang looks great. I don't know, man. I did see a few, gripes with it, with the story, and like maybe them not focusing on the choice that Scott had to make. But I don't know. I think it did exactly what it needed to do. It was a great Ant-Man story, and it had a lot of just fun visuals and cool world building. Like I don't know. I don't think something has been as successful at building a world like within the Marvel universe since like Guardians. Like in the way of that introduced the entire galactic kind of corner of the MCU. This is the microverse, seeing all these weird, cool beings.
Cool.
And
I love that. Yeah,
it was
great.
awesome. I mean, we saw fucking Bill Murray in a Marvel movie. I didn't think that would ever happen. But yeah, I'm pretty high on this. I'm not going to lie. I really did enjoy it.
Usually,
I'm with you, man.
I feel like every comic book movie we see, you always come down a little
And
bit.
I could. No,
Always.
yeah.
So I'm interested to see like where you sit in like a month.
Absolutely. I would be curious too.
I do. That's something I did notice. The aliens were like really. I
like
guess they're not
micro
really
beings.
aliens.
Yeah,
like these,
yeah.
these organic organisms, where I'm just like they're wild looking. I'm like they have like no rhyme or reason to like look the way they are. But I was like, all right, we're just gonna go with this.
Yeah.
And what I don't know his name, but the flubber guy, the guy with the holes.
Veb.
Yeah, he was played by Damien Dismalchin.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny.
He was
great.
character.
It was so good.
Yeah, and the comedy for me hit with this. And I think you compare like Paul Rudd, comedic actor.
Absolutely.
We all know that. We don't
sure.
need to discuss that.
Yeah.
And he brings that comedic element into Scott Lang. And I think it works. But like when you look at like Love and Thunder and you look at its comedy, that's a movie like a lot of people like I don't think liked. I think like not
At least divisive, I would say.
Yeah. And like you look at that comedy and it's like, well, like Thor didn't start as a funny character and Chris Hemsworth isn't a comedic actor, I would say. And it's just like you can see where like I always talk about fucking comedy in Marvel movies, but like you can see where it hits with this Quantumania and we see where it misses with Love and Thunder. And it's just like, yeah, like it works in some places and it doesn't. I feel like the directors need to understand that.
Well, and especially even not to have a whole nother topic on Love and Thunder, but it did just feel like that was just like, we're just going to throw things against the wall and see what sticks. Whereas this was much more poignant and you can tell it was worked out jokes. And, I'm sure Paul Rudd had a hand in some of it even too on the set, but but I will disagree with you on that. Chris Hemsworth isn't a comedic actor. He's so good in this. They overwhelm that in Love and Thunder.
They overdid it.
Yeah, that's in like what's it called? Ragnarok had the perfect balance in my opinion. Whereas like he had those moments with his dad, but he was funny and joking when he does. But to get away from Thor: Love and Thunder, it's very interesting. I agree, Gooch. I think that tone works for Ant-Man, especially when you have someone like Paul Rudd in that role. But what did you guys think of his daughter?
So that was a recast, right?
Twas.
Yeah.
Well, she was only in like one scene.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
technically the second recast because the original Cassie Lang is
She's young.
too
kid.
young.
Well, yeah, that's
I would imagine.
is that a? I guess that is technically a recast. But
Yeah, it is because they
have to age him up. Yeah.
I liked her a lot. I enjoyed her. I think the relationship between her and Scott, that was great.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a little bit. I didn't really enjoy the relationship with Evangeline Lilly, Wasp. That
very
much.
underused. Was just kind of
This was
there.
more Ant-Man and his daughter rather than Ant-Man and the
I
Wasp.
really debated why they called it Ant-Man and the Wasp. It could have been Ant-Man in the Quantumania, or I don't know.
I
Something
think
like
people
that.
would have yelled. I think people. Why are you taking the Wasp's name
No.
off? I'm not kidding.
No, he's,
I hear
I'm
you.
not kidding.
I
I think
hear
they
you.
just wanted to completely avoid that thing, and it definitely felt like there were lines that they wanted to explore more within this movie and didn't get the chance to. I agree. Evangeline Lilly was criminally underused in this, and I liked her a lot when I did see her.
Like her fighting scenes were cool towards the end. I enjoyed that stuff, but the relationship stuff there wasn't much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they focused more on her mom.
Absolutely.
Michelle Pfeiffer gets a lot to work with. In this
Definitely.
movie.
She did,
a lot
more than I expected.
Yeah, and she's pretty good. I think I
it.
was reading a review that was like kind of praising her, and I'm like, before I saw the movie, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's kind of awkward. I wouldn't expect like.
Yeah, no, I guess it does make sense considering the way they link it up. And I did think that narrative reasoning for why Kang is there and how it fits into the wider world works perfectly, especially with her.
Going back to Cassie, going off what Matt said, I kind of don't really think, like, I think they could have done more with her. I like how they get into her, like, clearly, like, rebellious stage, considering Scott disappearing. And her not having a dad for 5 years, but not only that, he's been in prison for 3, and he was gone, and he was gone for 2.
True.
So he has not been around her since Civil War, since he was arrested.
Yeah.
And then like,
It's funny, I didn't forget about that.
Ant-Man and the Wasp,
I did
he's on house arrest.
Yeah.
And I don't think he sees her.
I think he does. I think she's in that movie, isn't she?
Yeah, he sees her. Yeah, she like visits.
Yeah, I think she visits in that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like limited.
Still, no, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, that's
And
that's a
then
fair point.
The blip.
And he's
then
gone for 5 years.
Yeah. And then he comes back. And I feel like they could have played into her, I'll say PTSD more, especially with Darren Cross. Like, as a kid, she's getting abducted by this fucking dude in like the yellow jacket suit.
She says how old she is, right, when that
she
happens?
mentions that in the car.
Right,
She's
and I'm like,
I was attacked by a guy in a bee
if
suit.
it really like scarred you, wouldn't the moment of like realizing like who Modoc was kind of be like more than just like making jokes about it?
Sure.
Her character though, even when she was younger, kind of seemed like a tough kid.
That's
too,
what I mean.
though.
It didn't feel like it affected her in that way from what I saw in that scene.
Yeah.
It felt like she was pretty
She was all,
happy-go-lucky
like,
about it.
Maybe I just
she was
found like
comfortable.
maybe I just think that would be better writing.
like,
if
No,
they did
well,
it
that's
that
fair.
way.
the stepdad, because when he was trying to catch Ant-Man in the second movie, she was like, "You trying to find my daddy?" And she's like, "I hope you don't get him."
Yeah.
Like
No,
she's
I
like,
think-
she has that attitude. That,
It
Right.
didn't seem to me that like really traumatized her in that way.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I do think it would be something you would remember. I don't know. She did seem a little. I did see one critique by someone online. I think it's a bit of a fair one, where it's more like, all the kids in this universe are all tech geniuses who figure everything out.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we can relax back on that. We don't
that
need her
was
to
too
be
much.
we
No
don't
normal
need her to
children.
build the quantum realm, being the thing. I guess it makes sense that like, to tie her into the story and why she'd be there.
Yeah,
But
it is kind of
I-
odd that she's just like this.
It felt like instead of focusing on Evangeline Lilly and doing an Ant-Man and the Wasp story, they wanted to focus on the daughter-father relationship, which is great. And I do think that's fair that people are saying, like, well, then I think they should have maybe focused on that choice that Kang presents to him a little bit more rather than him just kind of being strong-armed into doing that. He didn't really choose once we get to that point, which we'll get into more in spoilers, but... Yeah, I thought she was good. She annoyed me at some points. There was one shot in the movie, I can't remember. I think it was when she yelled when she was getting tortured, and I was like, "That was so bad."
Yeah.
I really didn't. That was so. I did not believe that at all.
And I didn't really like the scene between her and Modoc, like when he like is like dead for all intents and purposes,
Yeah.
and, like knocked down.
Sure.
And he's like, you just don't have to be a dick. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was
Who
weird.
wrote this?
Yeah, it
Like,
was
this
weird.
is bad. Like, don't like nobody. I don't know. Like, it's, like
I don't know. It didn't- I didn't, like, love it,
there's
but
a
it didn't stand out
relationship
to me.
between those two characters that like could have been like expounded on or like made to be a little bit more dramatic and just wasn't.
I don't think you can take that character seriously.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. I don't think like you can. Yeah, like
That's another thing.
It was
I-
our reaction.
It
Their
was,
reaction
and
our
I think
reaction.
that's like I think that is the way you play that character because if you try and give him a serious moment with that gigantic fucking stupid head, I think it's a tough sell.
So you were sitting on the other side of us, so I obviously like didn't hear your reaction to when Modoc unmasked. We were
I was
cracking
like,
up.
what the fuck?
I couldn't. I genuinely couldn't stop laughing
We were
in a
laughing.
good way.
We were laughing, but like also the theater, the immediate reaction to that unmasking was a laugh, and I'm like,
But that's what. But again,
Do you think
Modoc
that's what
is,
they were going for? Do you think
Yes,
they were
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
Yes.
I really do because I'm sorry, I don't know how you get people to take that guy seriously.
I
in the way of like with his little arms and his little legs,
Like
and his
cartoons,
big
I would
head.
take more seriously. in,
But
like, a
that's what
cartoon
it's a bit
form.
easier for. I
it's
don't
a,
know
it's a
why.
hard
Yeah.
character to do.
Yeah.
It's a hard
in
character to
live
sell in I think like a Thanos role or like a really because he's the main bad guy in the Avengers game. I don't know if you can have Modoc be the main Avengers bad guy in a movie or something like that.
Thanos the main.
No, I'm sorry. Modoc is the main bad guy.
Right.
In the Avengers game, and it's like I don't think you can do that in real life because you can make him look a bit more menacing, and they kind of did that with his metal face, has more of the original comic like scowl.
I was really questioning. I'm like, this couldn't have been the first draft of this character. Like I have a feeling they probably did it more comic book accurate, he looks like a person, but he's just like really freaky looking and scary, and his dramatic, really overly dramatic smile and dramatic features, and I'm like, that could have been cool to see, but I think you're leaning into like a weird horror territory that I'm not sure this film
would work with.
It's not in.
And I think that cross thing's such a perfect setup. I mean, he literally got like caved in on himself and shrunk.
But
it's like, why would how this guy would be that thing?
Wasted potential. Just like most of these, when they have two Marvel villains in a movie, and there's the side villain, like Taskmaster's a great example of that.
Yeah. There's already so much going on though. Like you're adding that's just a whole other character you got to do.
Right. I'm like, this is like, you could do a movie about with him as the villain.
Do it
alone.
separate.
Yeah. Stop shoehorning two villains. But again,
like I just said, I don't think...
And it's Kang, right?
I think the way they used Modoc is the only way you can use Modoc in a Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love the way they used him. I think that's how you use that character. He's so weird. He's so out there that you have him be this kind of side, like the helper villain to the main villain. It worked for me.
Yeah, let me say I didn't dislike it.
Sure, no. And I don't mean to imply
I just think I was like, there's a different direction I would have gone
that you would have preferred. Sure, right, that makes sense. But it was just his big dumb head.
But man, he looks as goofy as we thought he was gonna look. Yeah. Like when that trailer came out and we were like, holy shit, there's MODOK with his big dumb head, like just like big face, like. There's nothing special there, and it's exactly what it ended up being.
It's so funny because we just saw the metal face at first. I'm like, oh, they're not just. They have to do the big head. Like they have to show me the face, and then they did, and I was very happy about that. I'm like, if we live in a world where I'm seeing Black Manta's big dumb helmet in an Aquaman movie, I can see MODOK's big dumb head in the Ant-Man movie, and they did it, and I'll give them a lot of credit for it. But what did you guys think about just like, I guess, Scott Lang's journey in general? Do you feel like he was done enough justice in this? Like, do you feel like you cared about him throughout this?
Yeah, I mean, I love the character. I mean, I think there should have been more at stake.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's like towards the end, it's like, there's the portal again. Like, when you guys mentioned it,
I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
there should have been...
you felt like, oh shit, they're stuck in the quantum realm. Oh no.
But why would they be? Because they'd have to establish it in a different. Well, but they'd have to establish it in a different way than at the beginning because they can just open up a portal.
See, to me, it didn't seem obvious that portal was just going to open.
Oh, really?
I agree with you. I was like, they got it. They're going to have to figure something out. But I didn't want them to be stuck there either. I don't know what I wanted.
Right.
I didn't want them to go home. I didn't want them to be stuck in the car, because that's been done kind of already. So I mean, I just wanted something else towards the end.
Like Ant-Man to die or something along those lines?
Yes.
Or just some death?
No. Or like I don't know.
I think Michael Douglas' death should have happened, personally.
Any death should have happened.
I think that would have been a hard-hitting one that really kind of shows.
So, like, my whole thing was like, okay, we got Thanos in Guardians 1, technically, officially. I know he's in Avengers, but do we count that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
So we see Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy. And, we're just introduced. He has like one scene, and that's really it. And he doesn't really make an impact until Infinity War starts happening. Like, he doesn't really do anything. So I think like the juxtaposition with a villain would have been like, the first time we're actually introducing Kang, he's gonna kill like 3 people. So before we're even getting to his big climax, he's already like, you already have a grudge against him. So we're gonna build up to that. Like, it's a big miss opportunity. Like,
that's fair.
Not that Scott has to die or like anyone in particular, but like,
I think Michael Douglas is
one
really
or two characters would have been traumatic.
Like, imagine if they would never have done it if they killed Wasp and his daughter, and the Ant-Man is just a completely different character.
Exactly.
Like, that would have been like.
Again, I think we're like, I would love that, but like, that's just so outside the realm of what these movies are. And I know.
It's like it'll change him, and then the next movie will be like ruthless.
Yeah,
it's
ruthless Ant-Man.
I think a common theme I feel like we don't really point out is like the stakes are always like act like they're high, but they're really actually never high. Like, nobody ever dies and stays dead, or it's
the idea of the stakes is high, but it doesn't end up. At least since like trying to think of like Black Widow, like since the stakes really did kind of matter, like in the way of like the stakes matter here,
What,
in the fact of like
you thought stakes in Black Widow matter?
no, the stakes like with Black Widow dying in the game,
right,
like that
right,
actually
right.
she's dead,
Right, she's gone.
which is yeah, so that's great. But whereas this,
But then she got brought
this is
back
the
because
potential.
we went back in time.
This is the potential of like this could be world alter. Like if Kang gets out, the world ends. That's what's riding on this.
So,
but you'd like to see some more personal stakes. At least I should say you say you euphemistically.
Yeah, with-
like for me
Yes,
with
the characters.
with Scott personally and the people around him.
It's
And
like
I agree with that.
At the end,
I think
they're
a
all
death
sitting
in that
eating
family.
cake at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They're all of them.
Yeah,
Come on.
like nothing happened.
Oh yeah, I
And-
definitely didn't want Scott
And
to die.
I think
but
we were talking before the movie, and we were like, "Yeah, I would like," or no, me and you were talking during the film, and we were like, "Kang's gonna get out," like,
and he did. Well, that's like it's.
and he didn't. You
he
know?
didn't, but the other Kangs are like exactly. You're right. It's
Yeah, I'm
it's
like,
a
we'll
technicality.
I'm like,
really.
we'll talk about Kang. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm purposely not jumping
for
into
sure.
it just
So it's interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a quit with the Kang thing too, but we'll get into
The
it.
personal stakes thing, I do understand that. I think that's a fair point. Fair critique.
yet. Yeah, and you know what? We brought up Bill Murray a bit ago. I liked his role. One and done. Didn't overstay his welcome.
I think that's all he
surprised.
wants to do.
I was surprised.
And because, like, look at Jeff Goldblum in Ragnarok. Like, he's in that movie a lot.
Sure.
And he's
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum from the beginning to end. And it's, I mean, if you don't like Jeff Goldblum, I guess it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't dislike Jeff Goldblum, but I'm like, yeah, it's a lot.
I think Bill Murray's just such a different actor. Like a different, like
Yeah,
in
he
the way
doesn't
he
really-
takes
he
roles.
doesn't do much.
Apparently, Bill Murray has like a line that you just call and leave a message for. Like he doesn't have an agent. Like he just you call if you leave a phone message and he listens and and if he doesn't want it, he just doesn't
did
call
you
back.
know his character going like what the character was?
Not at all.
No,
I knew he was like some
he was
type
a-
of like mini or like Quantumverse guy.
I thought he was going to be like he would have been replaced like what Modoc was doing. Like I thought he would have been like the second villain. That's what I kind of thought. and I didn't see
Yeah,
him
I mean,
again.
and I guess he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't really a villain. He was
No,
like
yeah.
one of the resistance guys, and Janet Van Dyne turned on them.
Well, just
technically.
abandon them really. Yeah.
Right. So that's why he was hostile towards them.
Yeah.
And I thought, that plot line of like, Kang is exiled by the Council of Kangs, and that's why he's in the quantum realm, and she's kind of, I guess, living and working with him for, I guess, like a few months, it would seem.
At least. Yeah.
I'm still like, I would love that actual timeline of like how long she's there, when she found him, how long they were together, and then how long she was there.
Dude, you are
afterwards.
the only person on earth that would love that.
Yeah, I'm like, I need that. I need that timeline. It's 30 years.
No, it is. No, it's a long time.
It's
yeah.
not like a year.
And
It's
again,
like,
the
okay.
way the quantum realm works time-wise is still confusing to me because she was down there for 30 years in age,
Yeah, it doesn't
whereas
make sense.
Scott was down there for 5 years real time.
No, 5 hours.
Well, I'm sorry, 5 years real time, and then 5 hours his time. Whereas, like, wouldn't that have happened to her if she was down there? It would have been like
And what have
a
happened
year
in
of
this
her
movie?
time.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
what-
And that's what seems to have. So
and also questioning how long were they in the quantum realm in this movie?
that's what I'm seeing. That's what I mean. That seems they seem to have kind of put themselves in a bit of a corner
Flubbed.
with her being old. By the way, her de-aging was fucking awesome, especially
I didn't
for
even
the.
notice.
I didn't notice.
And
either.
that's the point. It
I
looks
think
so
and,
good.
like I like
the
her.
Kang
I like
stuff,
her
yeah.
like white hair. It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
interesting.
I do too.
Look. But it's funny. Like I like comparing Michelle Pfeiffer and Nicole Kidman because they're kind of like that same era of actress.
Yeah.
And Michelle Pfeiffer doesn't have work done on her, at least not noticeably. Where Nicole Kidman
Yeah, she does.
looks like a totally different person.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It is
I
funny
mean,
how
I'm
we
sure,
don't talk.
but
we-
like Michelle Pfeiffer, I'm like, oh, okay, she looks fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whereas I see Nicole Kidman,
why don't
I'm
you ever
like,
bring this up about like maybe Michael Douglas, Gooch? What work has he done? It's always a woman.
He looks pretty
I don't
good.
want
He
to
looks
hear that.
great.
No,
He looks
no, he
pretty
does.
good,
And
yeah.
I'm actually sure he did have work done too. All of them do.
I
It's
love
in
it. I
the
love it.
contracts now that everyone gets like digitally touched up.
what?
Yeah.
I would say
That's part-
even,
yeah,
even the young guys.
Everyone gets
yeah.
they take off moles, they smooth out your yeah. It's all digital touch ups now, Gooch.
Woo!
Everyone's looking fire.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah. It's weird.
I do like Hank Pym's obsession with ants and how that differentiates him from Scott Lang's Ant-Man. That he's like the scientist and he likes
was
fucking
the-
with ants.
Again, I do love that we have
That's
the
his, like,
original
thing.
Ant-Man in this. It is
Yeah.
so good. And
Yeah.
Michael Douglas is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got him, really, at the beginning.
I love him in these.
Yeah, it
movies.
is an odd role for him, especially now that he's done Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Was he in Endgame or Avengers? I think he was.
He was. I think at
He
the
was
very
in.
end
He
of
was.
Endgame.
He was young in the what? Because he's in the flashback scene.
yeah,
you see
yeah.
him,
I'm like, I know he's not in
and
there
again.
long.
De-aging looked so good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, no, he's really the one line I saw someone share it online, and they were just like, you can tell Michael Douglas loves to do this because he sells just this line so good, and it's when he's like, he's walking through the place and he's like living beings living. I always hear about this, and he's like, holy fuck, that guy's made of broccoli or something like that. And it's so like, he delivers.
It works.
Yeah,
it works,
yeah.
and
I mean,
everyone genuinely.
And that's probably like a genuine reaction that would a real person would have. Like, yo, that guy's a fucking broccoli in his head. Like, it's just like.
I really
They're
gotta
already
commend-
amazed by it because they, Hank Pym says a few times, he's like, I never knew like people were down here.
Yeah.
Or, like living beings.
He's like, I always theorize it, and dude, I'll say it again.
And the red juice.
Just
that they
the
drink.
world design and even the design of the ships and like the organic like interfaces with
Yeah.
things, and he sticks it. It's really cool.
I was
world building.
afraid of the CGI, to be honest with you.
I was
Going
too,
in, I
'cause
was
yeah,
a little,
I-
little
so much
worried.
of it,
Yeah.
I didn't notice any CGI like flubs.
Yeah,
for a movie
a little
that's-
wonky, some like very little bit. But
I feel like that's gonna
happen though.
It's an almost entirely CGI movie, and you can tell they built out sets where they need to though. Like there's parts where you're going through Kang's like castle where it's like this hallway that she's walking through. It's a real set.
Michelle
you can feel it. It's a real
I
set.
listened to an interview with Michelle Pfeiffer, and she was talking about how when she did Ant-Man and the Wasp, it was hard for her because she was totally in CGI scenes with nobody, and she was like, it was really challenging. But in this one, we had practical sets. I'm like,
I see because I did notice that for sure. Even when they're in like the one
that
camp.
bar scene, I would imagine was practical.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
no. It seems
Obviously
like they
not the backgrounds. but,
definitely
yeah.
they
I think
put in the time on
They've
it.
been better with that. I think they've been at least trying to make some sort of realness.
Well, and I feel like we saw a lot of issues with the TV shows, and I feel like that genuinely was because they were pumping them out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And even like Thor: Love and Thunder, you could tell they were clearly in a CGI room and just standing around talking and nothing. Whereas this, you really didn't feel that at all. And for a movie that was as heavily CGI, like we said, as this, that's a hit. That's really good.
Agreed.
Fuck all these reviews. Anyways, should we get to the big man himself?
Sure.
Spoilers for everyone. If you haven't seen
too late. I
don't think we. I'm trying to think.
I did.
What did you give? I'm trying
Talks
to think.
about the Council of Kangs.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Thanks, Gooch. Bigger spoilers now. Anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry if we spoiled something for you already. Kang, let's talk about him. Overall, I think I gave my general thoughts, but more specifically, what did we think of Jonathan Majors, Kang the Conqueror?
Great.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in the beginning when, like, he had a presence that I feel like Thanos didn't necessarily have. A different type of presence that I thought was really needed, like the physical prowess there as he stomps on Ant-Man's fucking face and breaks his helmet. And I really, where does Kang get his powers from?
Technology.
Yeah, it's
He's
all
just a
technology,
scientist.
yeah.
It's all future
Like, that's
technology.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's super smart.
It's
I think
super advanced
he
technology.
might have. No, I think all the telepathy comes from all his technology. I think he does have like superhuman
Intellect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But besides that, because we still don't know his actual name in this. I don't want to
Right.
spoil it for who it possibly could be, or who it is in the comics. Anyways, it is a.
And
it's
that
kind of
was a
spoiler.
moment
Do you
when-
know who his real name at all?
No.
All right, we'll keep that under. Yeah.
So, that was my one.
Your eyes will get big.
That's the one thing. So it's like whatever happened to him at the end of the movie. Now, is he gone? Like, here's the thing.
question.
So now I care about that Kang, and
Sure.
I get the Council of Kangs. There's a lot of them. I understand that, but it's like I need other movies. I kind of want that Kang.
I don't think
Right.
he's gone.
Yeah, I don't.
I
think
really,
so
I
either.
they did talk. He's like, I just see. It's interesting because the whole idea is that this Kang, right, will kill all the other Kangs and make one timeline again, right, or just conquer everything.
So I don't.
See, I don't.
That's what I'm trying to
I
get.
don't
Like he doesn't
understand-
like all the other Kangs, obviously.
Well, and like
Right.
the new Loki, the second season, like there's going to be a different Kang.
yeah.
See, I'm
not gonna care as
curious.
much.
Which is that a different Kang,
Or is that the Kang that we
don't
just?
Okay, yeah.
we don't know.
But like when you can see all the Council of Kangs, like are we going to see some of them? Like I don't care about them now. I care about that
That
one.
Kang.
Right.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, and that's when we were talking about stakes. Like Kang just disappears. We don't know what happens to him. Like I was expecting him. Like he's gonna get out. Maybe he's not gonna beat Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's gonna kill them and then he's gonna leave. Because again, seeing like heroes in like movies or like whatever, it doesn't need to be a comic book movie. When they're like unsuccessful can be really like interesting.
Avengers Endgame is I'm sorry.
Infinity War is the right,
best
and that
one.
was so
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah, it
when you're
was.
like, they lost.
Yeah.
Like
That's
like
what you
half
want.
of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, like it was so impactful.
Well, you did. That's like
When
you're
you
saying.
when you
need
cut
those
the
stakes.
credits and there's no music, and dude, I was like, oh my god.
Have you ever
They
seen
did
the interview with Mark Ruffalo spoiling that like
yeah,
a year
it's so
out?
good.
Yeah.
One of the
So
funniest things
good.
ever.
Dude, and
But,
Don T was like, yo.
Yeah.
Dude.
Idiot.
He's like,
They must have buried the shit out of that. I don't even know how that did get out. But anyways, yeah, stakes. That is the big thing. I understand they just set up this whole guy, this specific Kang, and gave him
That's
this whole
who I care about
backstory.
now, yeah.
And then now
Yeah, I feel you.
he's seemingly gone. I guess you do see him get like, I don't even know what he's like. He's like sucked into like the warp drive, the multiverse
He looks
drive.
like he doesn't. Not that he gets pruned, but that effect, like it kind of like goes up. His
Yeah, I was
body.
thinking that too. It was very
Like, it doesn't
similar
just
to
disappear, but he
So
like,
that
fades
leads me
out.
to I think that Kang is the one that's running the TVA.
Yeah,
Now,
so that's the question.
I'm
Which
curious
which
if
Kang
that's
is-
the one.
That's what I hope for.
I'm hoping that too. I just don't. I'd be surprised
If
I'm
it
hopeful that they don't just throw away that Kang. That they don't just throw
Yeah,
away.
it
this-
wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Keep using different Kangs,
Yeah.
but just be like, I'm not
You're
that
losing
into
attachment.
it.
No,
Yes.
that makes sense.
It's sort of like
And-
Endgame, like when they use a different Thanos. It's a little
I
different.
agree.
but
Sure.
It's like
Yeah,
that.
I think it's the same, man. I think it is
Yeah.
because you do kind of like
You don't care as
This
much.
isn't my Thanos.
Yeah.
Hashtag not my
exactly.
Thanos.
Yeah.
That's
No,
it.
I totally understand that, and I do hope that they rectify that in some way, and they don't just make these Kangs just fodder, and they have the one big bad. But no, Gooch, I think you're right. That did look like the pruning almost effect from that. And again, it's this multiversal drive, so I feel like if anything, it
It
sent
shot
him
him
to
somewhere.
some different
Yeah.
multiverse.
I'm sure
And
they
I
did,
did love that moment with Scott at the end though, where he's kind of debating what he
He's
did.
like walking.
He's like not. He's like and he's like thinking about. It. He's like, wait, I didn't really like. He said he was gonna stop a bunch of himself from No, it's probably fine. And then like he like
I
keeps
love that
backing.
scene.
No,
Yeah,
it was
it was
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
And the way he's sitting at the table, he's like, I think everything's fine. Oh,
Wait.
fuck. Yeah, like I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Like this
yeah,
isn't good. It was a good way to end it for me. Do I wish it was a bit more? Not sad. Yeah, sad. Maybe
Right.
because Quantumania, it's this big start, but I don't know. I did.
think it
I
was
did
just
like
as
that
fun
one.
as the other ones.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, this is an Ant-Man movie, and I feel like this
yeah.
felt like it didn't like Wakanda Forever felt like not 80% of a Black Panther movie and 20% of a
real life.
like like Agent Ross movie and Riri Williams movie for some reason. Whereas this really did feel like it was focusing on Ant-Man. I didn't feel like they near the end. It felt like they were really trying to hammer home the building blocks. But it felt like they were eating what was on their plate. It felt like this was just about Ant-Man.
Right,
And
yes.
it was his story, and we were focused on him.
Didn't really set up stature much at all. Cassie as being stature. I mean, she has a suit, but like, that's it.
I feel like they're trying to set up the Young Avengers, which I don't care about, and I don't love.
I hate how people talk about it like an insane amount. Like, okay, I get they're there, but like, I don't really think they're setting up the Young Avengers. They're just the characters just happen to be there.
No, I think they are.
I think they will. I mean,
Why wouldn't?
not?
Why bring
Yeah.
these characters in?
There's so many young characters now.
Yeah,
Right,
and
but
they're all
like-
tech wizards.
Like, oh, I have a Hulk has a son now who's
yeah,
young. Like,
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
lining them up to go. Like,
So
but then you do have
I mean,
Natasha's
when
sister.
we were talking about outside the theater, I'm like, well, like that's great, but like, what's going on with the Avengers? What the fuck's going on with any of these characters? Why aren't they talking?
But again, in this one, that doesn't matter to me. Whereas that mattered more to me in Winter Soldier and like
it matters
Falcon.
in the context of like what's going on and what's to come.
But when
like,
you're
because
reading-
you think
Okay, sorry.
that Scott would be like, yo, I just fought this guy. His name's Kang the Conqueror, and he needs to be on our radar. And he like holds
he
the
like
fucking
starting like a
meeting.
group chat or something.
Right,
You see him,
right.
Like,
But,
guys.
They never did that after Avengers. They never did that after Age of Ultron. They didn't do it after Civil War. Everything was broken up. But by the time we got to Thanos, it was like nobody was really ready for it. Even though like there were some signs, especially like in the cosmic realm of stuff. But now Scott Lang, who is an Earth-based Avenger, who is technically, I guess, still an Avenger, could be like, yo, guys, I'm going to tell Carol about this. Like, I need
But
to
he's
tell
going.
people.
But like, I don't. Need
Is
to,
he, though?
But I don't need to see. Okay, right now we don't know.
Right.
My assumption is yes. I don't need to see him sit there at the end of the movie and text the
I
Avengers
do,
group chat, and be like, guys,
because
bad guy coming.
Because they never do it.
But Yeah, I
They
don't
never
know.
seem to be in contact if it's not an Avengers.
Well,
movie.
the Avengers aren't together right now, really. Even
See,
at the
that's-
set, like, and that's the
That's
thing. Like,
also
they
I want
aren't really, like, a
clarification on
team.
that. What's going on?
Sure. Listen, I think
Like-
that's a fair critique in a lot of things, especially with like when you're talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You're like, where is everybody?
I'm talking
And-
about like
and
WandaVision.
just a little bit.
Wanda. The Avengers just like left her
Or
to
even
her
like
own
just
vices
like
and,
that one's
didn't
where it's just
care?
like you really think Doctor Strange would be like, what
Somebody.
the fuck's happening over here? Which he kind of does at the end, and that leads into it.
Right, but like somebody be like, "Yo, I know Vision just died." Like,
But this
we
was
should
all just
talk," or,
contained
like-
in the quantum verse. This was all super like almost a bottle episode in a weird way. In the way if it's in the quantum zone, the quantum realm is the bottle. I don't know. That's fine. I don't need that. Makes sense that the Avengers aren't involved at all in this one.
And it goes back
And they
to
wouldn't
Yeah,
be
that-
because
that
how
makes-
would they
no,
know
yeah,
about
you're
it?
right.
And
That
then
makes a lot of sense.
You're in the quantum realm.
it goes back to like we need to see the more of the trauma that these characters have that they clearly aren't really bringing up in the stories. Because I'm like I would imagine like just like I mean Iron Man gets that after Avengers in Iron Man 3 or 2.
Yeah,
2?
Three.
Three.
Yeah, three.
Yeah, where he's like
Just after he flies through the portal and stuff.
Yeah, and he has like PTSD from it. But they were also adapting the Demon in the Bottle storyline where he's an recovering alcoholic and that thing, but they don't really get into that exactly, so that kind of takes its place. But yeah, I don't know. There's just like there's too much going on for them to just be like, yeah, we're fine, we're normal. Because like Wanda clearly wasn't fine.
Again, that, like I agree. I think with that stuff, it's harder to get away with. Whereas this one for me, I didn't.
I think that's like the DC of it, where I'm like looking like DC kind of deals with that shit all the time, especially
in what way?
with Batman, like just trauma.
I mean, like sure.
character trauma.
But
being,
I would argue they do that to their detriment sometimes and over focus on it. And that's what a lot of people did not like about Superman in this like that time around and things like that.
Yeah.
That he was, but a lot of people did, and I think that's fair. And I liked a lot of those aspects. But it's a fine line you got to tread. I really do think, and at the end of the day, they do want children to be able to go see these movies.
fuck the kids.
And that's a lot of their ticket
them.
sales.
Kids ruin everything.
Fuck 'em.
Fuckheads.
Fuck
So they
Disney.
do need to keep it within certain bounds of material they're covering. I don't know. But like, I agree. I would like to see a bit more trauma. Gooch is a bit of a trauma. I was gonna say trauma
slut.
Yeah, he wants
slut.
trauma in all his fucking Superman
I
movies.
think you need like I know you hate the word blip, but I think you need like a blip series, just like a show that
And I mean,
just
like
everyone's
like
sad
like
during the
quick
blip. Just
five-
like-
Right, 'cause
five
it's
episode
interesting.
show.
No, it is.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
would watch it.
Like
Yeah.
when Monica Rambeau comes back in that hospital in WandaVision, and the whole fucking scene was like absolutely chaotic, and like you felt like this like real drama and sense of like confusion, and I'm like, holy shit.
Like,
But
it's
then we have fucking Far From Home making jokes about it.
I hate that was the worst. That was the first time they brought it up.
Yeah,
That was,
and
the
it's
first movie ever.
in memoriam in Comic Sans.
yeah,
It's just like,
brutal.
are you fucking?
But
kidding
again,
me?
that's like
I get it. I get
it's
it.
a high school doing it. Like that
I
makes
get- I
sense.
get
in,
it, but,
in
like,
the context of how they are playing that
There's
works
no
100%
respect
for me.
No respect.
Either way,
No
before we
respect.
start
Yeah.
debating the merits of Far From Home,
But Secret
Or so-
Invasion is going to be in between the blips, so that's going to be cool to see.
I
Story,
wish
okay.
That's going
Marvel.
to be government.
Yeah.
I wish
know?
Marvel would commit, and they sort of have with certain things. I do think they are making certain properties that aren't for everyone, but they all do seem to be at least for children. I wish like they would do something like an Andor, like Star Wars has done, where that isn't a Star Wars show that everyone's gonna like. It's very slow. It's very methodical. It's focused on drama. It's focused on the character interactions. I would like to see Marvel sink into that more with certain shows, even like with Moon Knight. I wanted to see that a bit more. I wanted to see it taken a tiny bit more seriously. I think they did take it seriously enough.
And
But
even with just violence.
Yeah.
just with violence and all that stuff, I think they can in certain respects, and I think they got to be willing to do that and willing to be okay with everyone not watching everything.
I mean, they're going to have to.
Which they are. I
They're
mean,
doing it
with,
with
like-
Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Deadpool
great. And I
3,
like to
yeah.
see that, and hopefully that opens the door for more serious
Yep.
and dramatic roles too, on top of the funny and irreverent stuff that we'll get with that.
I think the only thing that I think I'm going back to Kang, going back to the Council of Kangs, I should say. So I gotta look up a video of YouTube of that scene because I'm like, there's way too much going on.
Of which scene?
Like,
I'm sorry,
wow,
I was
of
looking
all
at
the-
the
all
word.
Which
Kangs.
Kangs are there?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
okay, like the three main ones.
That
are,
is like straight out of a comic
it's
panel.
Immortus, the Pharaoh one.
Yeah.
So I think when Kang is first introduced in the Fantastic Four, he goes back in time and becomes a pharaoh. Like that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first incarnation of Kang,
Okay.
the Conqueror. And like I feel like I was like trying to like look at him and I'm like, is he like robotic or something? Because he has like his armor is really shiny. Oh, speaking of that, this film was way too dark. Shit was not popping for me. I wanted to see like Kang,
saturation wise, you mean?
yeah, like
color
Kang's
grading?
armor was not coming through on that screen to me. I'm like, dude, it's like purple
It's funny
and
you say that
green.
because it seemed dull. I remember I took my glasses off. I was like, this seems like even.
I
like,
said
I'm
the
not that
same
blind.
shit about Loki, and I got shit for it.
I don't agree with Loki. I think Loki, they committed to the color palette, but I do think there was a genuine color grading here that you
Something
could
was
notice
weird
where
about
it
it,
did
yeah.
feel like they were like, maybe this is too
Very
bright.
Man of Steel.
Let's actually. No, it wasn't even. Man of Steel's like gray.
Well, if
this
it-
is like you can still see all the colors, and you
Yeah,
can still see the purple and the green. Whereas
like-
it just was more muted. I would
dark.
say.
I think
Yeah.
if they really saturated, it would have been like Shark Boy, Lava Girl.
Well, dude,
level.
I think that's. I genuinely think they did it once, and they were like,
yeah.
"We got to take this
Yeah.
down a tiny bit,"
Yeah.
and then they just color graded the whole
Yeah,
movie down.
I wanted Kang. I just wanted to see Kang more.
I think I did see that meme you were talking about. It was like this Shark Boy and Lava Girl looks like all Marvel movies to me now, or something
And, well,
like
it was
that.
like it was.
Mr.
Antman, the
Electric.
Wasp, and then Mr. Electric. It was like on. It was on.
It was like so much
It was like
exact, yeah.
fuck.
Oh, you do. When Modoc was first shown in that trailer, everyone was like, "Dude, he looks like Mr. Electric," and I was like, "Yeah, he does." like,
Well,
yeah.
Mr. Electric looks like Modoc. I would.
that's
say. I would
probably
say-
what he took.
I
Yeah,
would say
exactly.
that.
That's exactly. Yeah. But yeah, good stuff. I don't know. I just think it's a fucking travesty that this is a 53.
Well, so like what you said at the theater, you're like, well, I wonder if our opinions would be different.
Yeah,
if
maybe
the
it would-
reviews weren't so bad.
that's what
going
I mean.
into it.
I'm curious. It just doesn't.
I mean,
like,
I was pretty high on it.
I went
going
into
in.
it having almost no as expectations as the first two movies.
I literally was sitting there thinking, like, man, I'm not excited to go see a Marvel movie. And honestly, I wasn't that excited to see Black Panther.
didn't even get a
just because I
popcorn
knew it was
movie.
going to be super sad, and I knew it was kind of there was going to be a Chadwick Boseman sized hole in it that I didn't know if they were going
Wait,
to be able
with
to go.
Wakanda Forever?
Yeah, I wasn't.
thought it was a Black Widow.
I wasn't. Oh yeah, a Black Panther sized hole, I should say. And Black Widow. But no, what I was saying with Black Widow, I'm like the fact that that gets a 79 for
Very strange.
a
Very safe
I'm
movie.
sorry, very safe, uncreative
not.
action movie with terrible effects. And then that's almost entirely lives in a CGI world with a story I cared much more about gets a 50. I don't know. Listen, all I'll say is go see a movie for yourself before you completely base things off of a Rotten Tomato score. But I get it. You know, you only have so much money you can spend in a month. Maybe you only can see one movie. You want to make sure you're spending your money right, or you're you know. I get it. Some people have different things, but I think this is well worth seeing in theaters, especially for sure. I don't know about you guys.
Expectations in general are just so high with these movies now, and I think that has a lot to do with it too.
And I do feel like I don't know. This
And
is
that's
maybe just
why,
me.
like, when I saw those scores, I'm like, this cannot be bad. I'm like, I
agree with you.
like,
I do.
I don't think you understand. Like, if this reviews poorly, I think that's an issue for Marvel. Like,
no, and I do think
if it
seeing
didn't
that
make the
score
money-
for people.
Like, imagine if it was like Black Adam with a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like, that would cause issues. Like,
Well, I mean,
and I don't
Eternals
know,
already didn't make great money. That was I think it barely made its money.
but it was good that movie wasn't Quantumania. It was the
It's
Eternals,
true. Yeah, it was
new
something
characters,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's totally true.
totally like off base from what we've done before.
Was this the first one of Phase?
Yes, this is the first
Yeah, this
movie
is
of
the
Phase
kickoff.
5. So next is Guardians, which again is another movie with like not just because of James Gunn. Well,
I think we're safe because of
I was gonna
James
say
Gunn.
if that
well,
movie's bad, I'll
but it's
chop
James
my
Gunn.
toe off.
Swan
No.
Song. The Guardians
Yeah.
are leaving. There's like, it's like a similar set of stakes, but like different stakes.
There better be if there's no stakes at the end of that movie. If there's no
Right, like
Drax is dying.
Right, like that
Rocket might
trailer
die.
indicates like I'm
Uh,
like there's people gonna be dying here.
Yeah, that
Like,
one
I think-
one scene of Peter like screaming
with like this spit on his
yeah,
teeth.
yeah, it's
Great.
so
so good.
Chris Pratt's great.
Trauma.
yeah.
No, true.
Wait until then, Gooch.
I don't know, man. Yeah,
Rockets trauma. Can't wait.
it's just it is an interesting study. Once again, we've seen these multiple times for Rotten Tomato scores, and I don't know. I have been seeing people like coming out and being like, "No, it was a movie." I'm like, I don't know. Am I going
it's-
fucking nuts?
Everyone seems to hate it.
Yeah,
Everyone I've talked to,
well,
like,
it's
I
funny,
don't
like,
like
because
it.
I'm looking on Twitter. Most of it like just when I search Ant-Man, it's pretty positive. It's everyone going like, I enjoyed it. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, but it wasn't like I didn't see people going like this sucked. But then I saw a lot of people that I follow that review it. Like Dan Murrell was like, yeah, it was okay. Like, I just don't think it was just okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
really
like,
don't.
if you look back at it, like I think I like this better than Eternals because
Yes.
I like the characters more.
I like this
Definitely
way
better
better
than
than
Eternals.
Love and Thunder.
Like way more than Love and
Yeah.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Way more than Black Widow. Probably actually way more than Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
What
me
else
too.
have we had? Is that it?
I don't know. I think it's in recent memory. I think that's about it. I'm trying to think other movies.
Yeah, like movie wise.
The
I
only-
mean,
a
Doctor
turn-
Strange, I guess.
I think
Right,
Shang-
multiverse. I love
I love Multiverse Madness too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shang-Chi was the only one that really sticks out to me. That
Right.
was
Yeah.
like I love that movie.
I love
Yeah.
that too. I just wish it wasn't a CGI
Yes,
mess at the end.
yeah.
But either way,
That's what this movie wasn't at the end. A
it
CGI
really wasn't.
mess.
There was a big
CGI battle,
Yeah.
but the last fight
it
wasn't
got down
a
to more
CGI battle.
personal levels, and
Yeah.
I do love seeing Ant-Man go Giant Man, and it's just fun. Again,
Yeah.
that one scene where Kang
Thank God
goes,
you brought that up. The vigor in his voice when he's going after Kang and he's like, "We had a deal."
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you just felt like there was so much emotion in his.
it's like,
what
give
he
me
was
back my
saying.
daughter. Yeah, you can
Right.
tell the daughter really is his crux, and I do think I would have liked to see that explored a little bit more and like what he's willing to do for Cassie. I do feel like he was just kind of Kang didn't really give him the choice to go get the quantum drive. He just was like, I'm gonna kill your daughter, or you're gonna get this.
Right.
I like
and
that,
in
though.
the
No, I
tra-
did too,
in
but
the
I feel like
tra-
in the trailers it seemed like he was setting up
being
like
want
you're
your
gonna
time
make
back.
this choice. You want time back, Scott. Like it was
Yeah,
Scott's
yeah.
choice more. And that was a fair
Right,
critique that I saw from people.
Yeah,
but
and he was like forced to. Yeah, it did really seem like okay, like Kang is giving him
An ultimatum.
you lost 5 years with your daughter. I can give that to you, just like he does with Janet.
yeah.
he does the same thing with her. It's like I can give you that time.
But doesn't he go back on the deal though?
well, for him, but it seemed like for Janet, he
was
was
not.
going to follow
Yeah.
through for it.
'Cause he
but
really
for Scott,
needed
he
it.
just said "fuck you" for
I don't
some
give a
reason,
shit
which I
about
didn't
that.
really. That's fair. I didn't really understand
Honestly,
why he did that.
I
But
think that's pretty real. He
Yeah, you're right,
wants
yeah.
what he
At
wants.
this
He doesn't
point,
give a shit
he's-
about
I
anyone
love-
else.
well,
They
he
didn't
got fucked over once. He's fool me once, shame on you. By Janet, fool me
yeah.
twice. He's like, nah, fuck it, give me that.
And it's
Yeah,
so
it's-
funny.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't really like play around with it or like pussyfoot around the fact that he's like, nah, fuck you. Like he's just like, nah.
Nah.
Yeah,
yeah,
nah.
get out. Yeah.
I
Great
like
stuff.
that.
And I did love that. Oh, the ants coming in at the rescue at the end. I did want to talk about that. That was a bit of a, and I've seen people say this, and I don't mean this in a bad way, and maybe it's a bad thing if you don't like this, but that whole idea of the ants going through time, making a society and all that
It's
stuff.
fun.
It felt very Rick and Morty to me,
Yeah.
which is fine, but it worked so well. And even Michael Douglas coming in and explaining it, they set it up so well at the beginning with
I
them
love
falling through the
ants.
quantum realm. So good. And they're ants. And then it's him. And they're like, do we have ants here? He's like, no. And it's like, now they got a whole ant society. It's so
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
It
It's
worked
do
so
we have
well.
ants here?
And then he was like, and at the end, Kang's like, you think you're going to fucking defeat me or whatever? You're Ant-Man. Like, he's like, who do you think you are? You're not, I've killed so
can-
many
you
other
control
Avengers.
ants.
Yeah. It was so good. His delivery is great.
And
Yeah. Jonathan Majors.
It was
kills
funny
it.
because like I was looking for more exposition with like that line where he goes, "Have I killed you before? Like I've killed the Avengers before, and I know who you guys are." But he doesn't really say much more. And when he was talking to Janet, I'm like, "Hey Janet, why don't you ask him about his family, huh? Why don't you ask him how he feels?"
Watch it, Gooch. Don't say it.
Yeah, because I was like looking for something, but they still didn't. We still don't really know a lot. But what's good about the ending is we know from the end credit scene, like Matt was saying, like we're gonna see him again in Loki season 2.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. It's not like we're like, oh, when are we gonna see him again? Don't really know.
And honestly,
Like,
the
we
way
do
that
know.
that is set up, that leads me to believe that is the Kang. That is the one from this movie. Like, why show that after
and
credits
it's
stinger?
him after Quantumania.
That's exactly. That's
Okay.
That's my assumption
okay,
based
yeah.
off of
Yeah,
that
it
end credit
it
scene.
makes sense.
But
But
it might
maybe
be
he
wrong.
got trapped there.
He got trapped in that time, and he doesn't have his warp drive or
But
anything.
maybe
Well, we don't know the timelines of these movies, do we?
No,
that
not
was
really,
another
yeah.
question. I don't know when this movie takes place, and it seems
Oh, I
shortly
think
after
this
the
does-
blip. Like not long. Can't be more than a year
Do you think
or
it's
two.
before or after the first Loki?
That's another good question.
I think they have laid out a timeline for the shows.
There is
but
a
I know
timeline, but
things
it's not
got
obvious
screwed up
anymore.
because
blip.
WandaVision. Well, no, because of the real life pandemic.
Oh, yeah, true.
When I think because WandaVision was supposed to come out after Black Widow, I think.
No,
Or it was,
right.
there was some.
It
yeah.
was Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision.
Yeah.
That's how the order was originally
supposed to go, but then WandaVision ended up starting it off. So
They changed the stories in most of those shows too. Like Falcon Winter Soldier was like, wasn't there like a
there was
There was
apparently a whole
pandemic
pandemic thing
and
that they
changed
took
it,
out.
yeah.
Supposedly,
I would love if they just openly talked about that at this point.
They really
like why
should,
not?
yeah, make
Like
things
it's
more
not going to
clear.
hurt you. You already
Yeah.
made the thing.
definitely.
And people
Again,
made their
that was
opinions
another
about it.
example of a show that should have been a movie to me. Falcon
Yeah,
and the Winter
should've been
Soldier
better.
should have been
I think they realized.
like and even like Moon Knight. Just a few of them should have definitely been movies. Even like Ms. Marvel, I think that could have worked as a movie. But I didn't love that show, but I think they did a stellar job with what that character is, as far as I
agree
can
with
tell.
So it
yeah.
wasn't for me. But
Exactly.
It was like a great.
It was a translation of that character faithfully. Which, you're either gonna dig or you're not. Guys, anything else on Ant-Man
So I
and the
was just
Wasp?
trying to think. I think
Quantumania.
yeah, I think that's it.
Or is there a colon?
We didn't get a the thing they do in the first two with what's the other characters? Their
Oh right.
Oh yeah,
like
they-
the voiceovers.
yeah.
playing it, and
Michael Pena wasn't. I think he was filming something else. That's probably what I heard.
They wouldn't really fit.
No,
not
but
at
that's
all,
why they
yeah.
put. I
Yeah.
think what's his name in his Veb. Like they just
I
made
thought it
him
was
voice a character. It would have made sense
like
if
a
he
post
voiced.
credit, like it would have been like doing the
This is what
voiceover
happened,
thing.
yeah.
Scott, you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
Other than
No,
that,
I knew this guy.
yeah, that's I only wanted that, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
Otherwise,
It's not-
good
not
stuff.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I don't know. You know, we may never see those characters again. Like, I don't know. Now the question is like, okay, are we getting another Ant-Man? Who knows?
Yeah, I think. the
I don't
director-
know.
The director said he wanted to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think genuinely, it's up to that man on the poster right there, Mr. Paul Rudd and the
All right,
Ant-Man. Yeah,
both of them.
I don't know. Like, I think as long as he wants to do this, and as long as
What if
they're
it?
successful,
What if they
I don't know.
flipped it and they called it Wasp and Ant-Man?
That's just liberal lunacy gone too far.
No,
dude.
but it was more about Wasp.
Yeah, man.
Because I think we kind of talked about it and went past it. Like
The Wasp
Evangeline
and
Gilly
Ant-Man.
just doesn't really have a lot here. It's not that she does bad.
No, they
I
just did
love her.
Wasp.
I love her.
Oh, I thought she was great
character.
in it. I just think they chose to put the focus on Cassie. That's where
Right.
and that's where that focus would have went.
Or it'd even be cool, right? To see
You do
the
get a
three of
little bit
them
between
being-
Janet and her, but I don't. There's a bit of a payoff to that, but I wish there was more
Well,
to
like
it.
she's like, why don't you talk about this shit?
And then, yeah, you
then
find out,
and then
yeah.
it's like, okay, well, now there's it comes out and why she
Yeah.
didn't talk about it.
And
Not
you
that
t-
it makes sense per se.
Sure.
but
And we
there's a
do get
reasoning.
filled in at the beginning that she's taken over PIM Industries and she's like using the PIM particle to help everyone.
Oh yeah,
And stuff like that. There was a
housing and
little
all
bit of
that
work,
stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about people being displaced from the blip. It's like the
But again, how many years on are we from the blip?
right.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
what we
but
don't
like,
know.
how many times has that been brought up? A lot. It's
Yeah.
like the one
No
thing.
clear answer.
Well,
to
even
it.
there was something like I felt like it was very shoehorned at the beginning. It's like an obvious social message, which honestly, a lot of people probably agree with, and it's fine. But when she's like, they were clearing out homeless camps. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's like she's
Yeah,
it's like all right, we
You're
Just
clearly-
do nothing.
Yeah.
There was a very like, I'm like, all right,
we get it. But
yeah, activist.
good. Yeah, it's fine. Maybe go. I don't know. Like stop a bank robbery. But anyways, is that it for Quantumania or one more?
Yeah. Now that we're talking about Cassie, her like grilling her dad, I liked how she like was mad at Scott.
I like that
for
she was
being gone.
mad.
Yeah.
I don't
Like-
like that she was mad at him for being gone because he was in another universe and he saved the universe.
Yeah, but, like,
I
it
get
doesn't
that she was
matter. It
mad at
doesn't
him
matter.
for. It made sense more that she was mad
It's
at him
your
for not
parent.
doing anything.
It's your parent.
That he was standing. I know, but fuck her. Either way, I think it makes more sense that she would be upset at him for just kind of sitting around and not doing anything like she is. Like she brings up, and
I
then
was
she's
like, well, like,
why aren't you helping?
where are the
people?
other Avengers? That's it goes back to the question. It's
But
like,
again,
well,
who's
what are they
act-
doing?
So who's active right now? Let's just do this really quick. So we got Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Is the Winter Soldier an Avenger? Wouldn't say. He
No,
is.
well, he's a Thunderbolt, I guess now.
Yeah, I would say it is. Hulk.
But again, I'm not talking. I'm
not
talking
counting
not
him.
like I'm not talking like people who are literally card-carrying members. I'm talking about people who have been in it, like that are active.
Who are
superheroes.
still there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
So
you consider
Captain
the
America, now the Falcon, now Captain America, Winter Soldier, Black Widow's dead, so that's not in.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, Thor,
Hawkeye?
Thorette. No, I'm kidding. She's dead. I just realized. Hawkeye,
Would you consider Hulk?
Hawkgirl. What's her name? Kate Bishop. Daredevil now. Hulk.
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. No one knows who he is now anymore, though.
Doctor Strange?
Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Doctor
Who
Strange
knows what
is
she's been
11.
doing? Doctor Strange. But so it's like, and then Wong. And we
Right,
saw
all these
Cell-
people.
Yeah,
and you see like, oh, like Wong is talking to Captain Marvel, like not
Again.
necessarily something you'd see in Shang-Chi. Like, okay, there we go. Like they're working together or something, and then
Yeah,
we
I
just don't
appreciated
get
that,
we don't
yeah.
get any more of that.
I agree. I think of this movie, I'm totally fine with that because, like I said, it's such a self-contained story within the quantum realm.
Yeah.
But I take that point 100% with other movies, especially where we brought it up before. here.
Moving forward, I would like to see more of that.
For sure, especially like I
always
the
want
interconnect. Gooch loves the interconnectivity. I do
I-
wish some
the
of these
shield,
movies.
the shield of it.
That's
I'm
what the,
always
but
I
that's what
always
the
talk about
MCU
shield.
is, though.
It
Like,
is
that's
no
what
for
they
sure.
should
I
do.
do wish some of these movies stood more on their own though to a degree, and I do feel like this one does.
Yeah, I was
honestly.
gonna say, I was
So
like, I think this one
and
does.
I think this is a great example of doing that, and even Black
But
Panther.
it
I do
also
think for the
has
most part
those
does.
interconnected threads in a way where, but I'm always like, I always talk about like, especially in the beginning, like before Infinity War, I was like, where's Shield? Like they're just gone. Like we don't hear anything about.
Well, they
them.
were a corrupt,
And now
terrible
Sword is
organization
like,
that was influenced
What's
by
going
Hydra.
on with Sword? Like, what are they
Yeah,
doing? I guess
Sword.
Secret Invasion. We're gonna probably hear about all of that. I
Yeah.
hope. You would fucking hope.
I mean, that's what else would they focus on? Honestly, I don't even know.
Right, it's
because
the
they're probably just
government and the
integrating into this.
organizations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. I
Now
think that
we'll
about shrinks the conversation.
God
I'm
damn.
so good. Guys, girls,
I'll go
everyone,
home.
thank you so much for watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Network. We really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We're on all your favorite social media pages as well. Delco Nerds. We have a Facebook page. We have a Discord channel, all of which will be linked below. You can email us, delconerds@gmail.com, with all your comments, questions, or concerns. We'd be happy to respond to you, but you can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. If you can drop a like, subscribe, comment, follow, tell your friend. It really helps. Just spread the word. But,
Matt, do you want to plug your
oh
stuff?
yeah, please, Matt.
Nothing to plug.
Nothing to plug?
Nothing?
Nothing to plug.
Nothing to
yeah.
plug.
Okay.
I don't plug anything. now.
Fantastic. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank
All
you.
right.
No
I
plugs.
appreciate that though.
Of course, for Gooch, for Matt, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.